if Studio hops in. He said he might join us because he needs help setting his up too. Okay, so do you have Open Broadcaster open?
Yep, I'm looking at it. Looking at the little green thing that tells me how loud I'm talking.
Okay. So it should be blank under scenes and sources, right? Bottom left corner.
Yeah, let me... Should I go ahead and full screen this?
So on the bottom left corner of your screen where it says scenes and sources, if you don't have anything, it'll be blank.
Yeah, well, see, I was never used this, I imagine it. Yeah, it's blank.
Okay, now under scenes, if you right click in the blank space and click add, you can add a scene. Now, a scene is basically whatever the utility is that you want to use it for. So, really, if you're only going to play MechWarrior or one or two other games, one scene would probably be enough. I added 2 scenes so I could have one dedicated just to MechWarrior and another for any other game that I play. Make sense? Okay, so go ahead and create a scene.
My mom always told me not to make a scene.
Once you've created a scene, right-click on Sources, click Add, and look at the list.
Okay, I guess I'll call this scene Training. Or Learning, I don't know. Fueling. Yeah, that's a good one.
Honestly, I don't know what most of these sources do, because I only use like 3 of them. I use Game Capture, Display Capture, and Window Capture.
Well, where is the stuff you're talking about? What?
Right-click on Sources, click Add, and the little pop-up menu appears.
Oh. Which one are we talking about here? There's many.
Yeah, there's a bunch. So the 3 that I use are Display Capture, Game Capture, and Window Capture.
Okay.
Those are the only 3 that I use. Hang on one second. My stream looks like it got interrupted.
So where's the stuff?
I hear it, but I can't see it. That's strange. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. So as I'm doing this video, if I click on the next scene, I forget about that.
Sorry, hold on. I had my mic off. Oh, and my headset off. I take my shirt off because my roommate's got a fucking boiling in here again.
Okay. So what I was basically saying is I screwed up. I forgot when I change scenes, it changes how it's recording or streaming. And so when I went to the new scene, I put everything blank. So it created a blank spot on the video that I'm making for this. But I'm back on the regular scene so that everybody can see it. But if you right-click under Sources Noob, highlight Add, the 3 that I use are Display Capture, Game Capture, and Window Capture. And of those 3, you want Game Capture for MechWarrior. Okay?
Okay.
So go ahead and click that. It's going to ask you to name it, or to add from existing if you already have an existing one that you want to copy. So like I have, for example, under my window, it says MWO and Star Trek, because those are the 2 different game capture sources. Excuse me, game capture sources that I already have that are already set up. So if I wanted to copy the settings for one, I would just click Add Existing, click the one I wanted to copy, and hit OK. I'm going to create a new one for the purpose of this, though, so I'm going to let it just be called Game Capture. Once you rename it or do whatever you want.
Should I have MWO up right now, or?
No, you're fine. You don't have to have it up just yet.
So okay, properties for Game Capture.
Yep, just create new, just call it Game Capture, whatever you want to call it, and hit OK. And it'll change.
Messing with any of these boxes or anything, or?
Alright, so do you see new box says properties for and whatever you called it? Mine says properties for Game Capture.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's like a blank grayish screen in the middle, and there's some boxes underneath it. Alright, so you're going to look at mode where it says capture any full screen application. If you leave it at that, and you are streaming using that, it's going to run with whatever you have up on your computer. So what I typically do is click capture specific window. Okay. Under Window, I select then from the applications that I want to capture. Now, when you have MechWarrior running, it'll show MechWarrior EXE or something like that, the program, and you want to click that.
Oh, so it's got to be up.
Yeah, so it'll show on the window. So when you open MechWarrior, if you want to go ahead and do that now.
Okay, hold on.
Here it is.
Give me a sec.
No problem. I'm opening my MechWarrior now.
The video counts as a submission, right?
For the Dash and Bash?
Yeah.
Yeah, but for best results, you really want a screenshot because you can shave off a whole second with a screenshot.
I don't really think that. Shave off a whole second. Well, what? But if it's on video, you see the exact instant it goes down. So I'm confused by that logic. And also, I don't think 1 second is really going to help me, dude.
That's fine. Video will work. I'll just look at when it changes to 8 and record that.
Remember, I don't run fast.
No
I tank up. I tank up and gun up. I don't. That little chicken leg speedy crap. That's stuff that you and Luigi and Smoke Wolf like to do.
I do like to be competitive with the speed.
I've never. I don't think I have the frame rate in my brain. Right now. Okay, so let me get up. Oh shit, my capsule is on.
That's alright. I can try to edit that later. Alright, so I have MechWarrior open now. We're going to jump back over here to OBS. Are you good to go?
Yeah, hold on. I'm waiting for MechWarrior to load. Give me a second.
No problem. Wait a minute or two.
It doesn't take how long.
Behold, my Yellow Wang. You are doing it wrong. And rescue you out of the corner of this AC-20 barrel. Let me know when you're ready to go.
Give me a sec.
No rush. I'm kicking around the mech lab. Like any good MechWarrior would.
I gotta say, this, what is this, Piranha deal? It does look interesting.
The what?
The new Piranha thing they got coming out?
Oh, the new mech?
Yeah.
Yep. I forgot about the October challenge thing. I didn't do it, rats. Forgot all about it.
Okay, so you want me to go back to OBS, right?
Yep, go back to OBS.
Alright, I'm there.
Okay. So, do you still have your properties up, that box that we were talking about?
Uh-huh.
Excellent. Excuse me. Excellent. So under mode, you want to click capture specific window, and it creates a new drop-down box directly underneath it that says window. So you're going to click window, and you're going to go down and find MechWarrior. You may have to close and reopen the box. If you need to do that, click cancel in the bottom right corner of the box. Right click on your game capture back under sources. Click properties, and it will open back up.
Okay.
So far so good?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I just selected capture specific window again.
MechWarrior Online Client.
You're going to want to click the MWO client, and it should pop up in your little window there.
Hey, Mech Lab. I can even see my
There you go.
cursor's moving. Oh, this is freaky. I got two cursors.
Now you're going to want to leave Windows Match Priority as executable name. Don't touch that.
Okay.
And
Well, can I just look at what they have?
I think you can just leave it. Let me double check and see what I
Window,
find.
tile, window class, executable name. Alright.
Yeah, so I just want to double check mine.
Wow, this is super weird. I have 3 instances of my cursor doing the same thing.
That's funny. So I just left it as, I left all those things blank. I didn't change anything below that. I just need to double check. So once you've done all that, you're good to go. You can hit OK to save it, and you're set. Okay? That is your basic, that is your most basic streaming, recording setup right there. Every time you open it, you'll want to click on your little window capture under scenes, whatever you called it, sources, and you want to click on game capture to select the game capture. What I like to do at that point is enable the preview. On the big white field in the middle of OBS, you can right click and click enable preview to show it.
Okay, hold on. Let me get my joystick set up. Yes, me just. Sorry. Probably should have done this already, but I wasn't thinking about it.
Hey Studio, welcome to the stream.
It'll be wonderful when I can finally get out of
like
this joint
polygonal stuff
and just have my own desk out of storage again. And I don't have to assemble my gaming area every time I want to use it.
Yep. You ready to go? There's a good bit more still, so I don't want to.
Be one of those portable air conditioners. Hey, what am I doing here?
Okay,
what?
You've created your scene. You've created your source, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, now right-click on the window in OBS, the big white window. And it should say preview is currently disabled in the middle of it.
Big white window.
Yeah, in the middle of your OBS screen. Do you see anything there?
I see MechLab.
Oh, nope. Okay, so your preview is already enabled then.
I guess.
Right-click on that. It should say... Ooh, that was weird.
Enable preview is clicked. Lock preview, preview scaling.
Okay, so you can see all that. So enable preview will have a check mark there when it's when it's streaming, or when it's when it's showing the MechLab and everything. You want to uncheck that when you're playing, because what it will do is if you have enable preview activated, it will try to stream to OBS as well as to Twitch or record your desktop, whatever you're doing, and it creates more demand on your computer resources. Make sense?
So it's streaming twice unnecessarily.
Basically.
Okay.
So I usually enable it to make sure that it's reading the game properly, that there hasn't... Sometimes OBS will glitch when you first...
Is it recording right now, or what are we...
I'm streaming all this right now. It'll be a video on...
No, I mean mine.
Oh, no, on yours, you have to... On the bottom right corner, it says start streaming, start recording, studio mode, settings, and exit. Okay. You have to click start streaming, or hit your hotkey when you set up a hotkey. What I'm trying to say here is you want to enable preview when you first start OBS in the game to make sure it's capturing the game properly. Sometimes it glitches when you first start it.
Okay.
After you've checked it, make sure you disable the preview. Uncheck the box. Make sense?
Okay.
That way it won't...
Disable giant white screen.
Yeah, that way it won't compete for resources with MechWarrior and anything else that you have going. So once you've done that, you're now prepared to stream or to record. If you want to stream, you click stream. If you want to record, you click record. And then you click them a second time.
Now, if I'm streaming, how does it know what I'm streaming to? Because there's choices, right?
As far as like Twitch or YouTube or other sites. Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
All right, so you're clear on all this. This is how you create a scene, a source, and then you set up your start, stop stream, and you preview it all. Good on that?
Okay. So you go to the scene, you right click and either add one, or there'll be a list of ones you've already created.
Once you've created one new, it's there. You don't have to do it again, unless you want to add additional ones.
Which I'm probably going to want to do. So right click and then you hit add, and then the thing comes up and you make a scene, you name the scene. After the scene is there, you right click on the scene's name, go to properties, and that opens up the preview watch it donkey box.
Excuse me for the cough.
Thingy with the capture specific window jillies. And then you pick the whatever you want to stream from, which will be on the list, and then don't mess with everything else, and then click OK, and you have a new stream to use for whatever.
Basically, the video will be there if you ever need to review it, but yeah, you'll right-click, create your scene, right-click, create your source. But once they're created, like you've just now done, they're going to be there until you delete them. And if you want to delete them, you right-click and you hit remove to delete it.
Okay.
So you don't have to repeat that unless you want to make additional ones. All right, so we're set on all that. You can now stream and record. Now we're going to go check out your settings.
Okay. Down here on the right?
Oh, wait. No. So in the bottom right corner, it says settings, just above the exit button. Click that.
I'm up.
All right. Now we're looking at your settings. Okay. So let's see. General should have English. Your theme, if you have themes or different things like that, you can change it.
Hey, no, Mike. Give me just a second, please.
Yeah. I hate dark.
Hey, man, are you using the oven?
Yeah.
Is the air conditioner on? Because I'm already hot as fuck.
But it is.
Make sure it's set to like at least 70, man, because it's...
By Big Fat Noob.
Alright, sorry, go ahead.
Is your AC working?
Okay, still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Alright.
It's 70.
Okay. So general is all your generic stuff. English, themes, if you have any loaded. I just use the standard white generic one. It has a confirmation dialog, so when you start the stream, it'll ask you, "Are you sure you want to stream?" And when you go to stop it, it'll ask, "Are you sure you want to stop?" You can hide cursor. I mean, all these different things. This is all like personal preference type stuff.
Oh, there's a list of Twitch and all that. Okay, alrighty.
Yep.
Mashcast. That sounds violent.
I don't see that on mine. Are you looking at general?
No, I'm in the stream. I thought that's where we were at.
No, we're at general.
What's a confirmation dialogue?
That's like what I was saying. When you start the stream, it'll say, "Are you sure you want to start?" and you click yes or no. And when you stop, it'll say, "Are you sure you want to stop?" You click yes or no. And you can uncheck those if you don't want to have them on there. I like them just because it's a check against me accidentally turning it on or off, which still happens if you use the hotkey. It only does it if you manually click on the button. We're going to skip stream and go to output, mainly because I forgot to look at stream for a second before I started recording. And stream, basically, that's where you'll set up your streaming function, Twitch or YouTube or whatever. You're going to have to go online to those sites, to whatever your account is, and get your stream key. Never tell anybody your stream key, because if they know your stream key, they can steal it. Take your stream key, you'll go to stream, and you'll enter it into the stream. You'll like select your application, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, and then it'll ask you for a stream key, and you put the stream key in, and you hit apply, and at that point it'll do like a handshake and lock in with that service, and then you can stream to it. Make sense?
Okay, that seems pretty straightforward.
Yep, it's actually pretty easy to do. There's some other options you can tweak, but that's actually pretty simple. So you're going to jump down to output. This is probably the more... Yeah, output's probably the more complicated one here. This is the one that I had trouble with. It's been simplified recently in some patches, which makes it nicer. So under streaming, it's going to have a bunch of stuff here. Rate control, I just left it CBR. Bit rate is 3500, 3500.
Rate control.
Are you under output? Yep.
Output mode.
In the middle of the screen, if you have streaming, the streaming tab clicked, go about halfway down the screen, roughly speaking, and you'll see rate control, bit rate, keyframe interval, preset, etc. Do you see all that?
No. I got output mode, video bitrate, encoder, audio bitrate. Am I supposed to click advanced encoder settings, or?
Yes, go to encoder. I'm sorry, I forgot. Mine's grayed out, so I skipped over it. But yes, if you're not streaming, it won't be grayed out. So click encoder, and you're going to want to select your video card, or on the encoder you prefer. I've got Invank H264.
I have software X264 and hardware Invank.
Take the Invank. That's what I'm using.
So that what goes off that makes it do my graphics card, or I don't know what these are.
To be honest, I'm a little bit of a noob when it comes to electronic type stuff. This is just stuff I gleaned by watching copious numbers of tutorials that I finally figured out how to set mine up, but I don't actually understand what it all does. Sorry. But yeah, I'm using Invank H264. And I have the box checked for enforced streaming service encoder settings. And I have rescale output set to 12 by 720.
I think you get some stuff that I don't get.
Have you selected encoder Invank?
I don't have encoder. I've just got. Well, yeah, I've selected that, and I'm still not seeing any of the stuff you're talking about.
Immediately underneath, is there not a little box that says enforced streaming service encoder settings?
Oh, I got enable. Advanced. That's what you threw me off. I got it says enable. I was looking for enforce. Okay, so you got to click enable before enforce appears. Okay, so all right, I got it.
Sounds like you might have a slightly different version than mine. Look at the top left corner of your screen. Does it say OBS 0.16.6?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
No, I have another box that said enable advanced encoder settings, and I clicked that, and then enforce streaming service bitrate limits appeared for me to click on.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what you need to see. So enforce streaming service needs to have a check in it.
Do
you see where it says rescale output?
Rescale.
Immediately below enforced streaming service encoder settings.
Immediately below that, it says encoder preset higher equals less CPU. And then I have a drop-down menu starts with the default and ends with low latency, high performance.
Sounds like you're using the old version of it. It's very different from what I've got. Here,
Well, I
open
did
up Twitch.
download it months ago.
Yeah, I updated mine like last week. Here, I just posted in room territories. Open Twitch up real quick and look at it. Tell me if that's similar to what you got.
Hold on.
How do I get pizza sauce in the winter?
Oh man, it goes to freaking Microsoft Edge. Ow! This is super loud. Hold on.
It's not pizza sauce. What is it?
Oh great! Now I gotta listen to you just say the same shit twice. Awesome. Alright, let me look here. Oh yeah, you got stuff I don't have. Wait, hold on.
Oh, that's a good point, Studio. Let me ask you this, noob. At the very
Hold
top.
on, let me mute Twitch. Hold on.
Okay.
Alright, because I'm hearing you talk over yourself from 10 seconds ago.
Studio raised a very good question. At the very top of the settings window, where it says output mode, are you in advanced or are you in something else?
I'm in simple.
Oh, that's the problem. Click on it and go to advanced.
Oh, okay, yeah, there's all that
Thank you,
stuff.
Studio. Alright, now does it look like
You
what's on
skipped that
Twitch?
part, man.
Yeah, I didn't actually read that. I went straight to streaming, went down the list. I forgot you got to change it from simple to advanced. Now does it match what's on Twitch?
It looks that way, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So, now you're going to go down. You're going to select encoder invent, check the enforce streaming service encoder settings box, and then you're going to want to check rescale output, and you're going to want to rescale it. Now, what you rescale it to will vary. Because of my monitor settings and everything, I've selected 1280 by 720.
Mine's starting out at 1366 by 78.
You may want to rescale it by shrinking it down a little bit.
Well, it jumps down to 1092 by 614.
That could work for you. Or you could go a little larger. Whatever floats your boat.
Well, let's just try this. I'll mess with it later if it
Okay,
doesn't
that's
work.
the kind of thing. Yeah, you're going to have to play around with that and find out what works for you. Okay, for rate control, below that, I have CBR.
Uh-huh.
Bitrate is 3,500.
Mine starts out at 2500.
Boost it.
Okay.
You may have to tweak it depending on how your gameplay performance and all that other stuff goes, but most of what I'm reading and watching online says 3,500 is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Keyframe interval, I didn't touch. It's still at 0.
Alright.
Oh, Studio's in TeamSpeak. Let's drag him down real quick.
User was
Hey,
moved
Studio.
to your channel.
Oh, we can go up to training. I mean, I was just hanging out here so you would see that I wasn't at AFK when you got here. On account of you were so late.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was running 15 minutes late.
From the hard time limit that you promised me yesterday.
Yes, well, I'm sorry. I was working and I got all messy and I went and cleaned up in the shower and I was like, oh crap, I'm running late.
I'm envisioning you like looking at your feet abashedly.
And not hardly. Can you hear us, Studio? I see his little light blinking. He's trying to speak.
Yep, somebody needs to fix their TeamSpeak.
He keeps flashing, the poor guy. Alright, after OBS, we may have a session for Studio's TeamSpeak. Let's see. Alright, so underneath keyframe it says preset. See that, noob?
Keyframe, where am I at? Okay, yeah, preset,
I have
0.
high quality selected. Now you can choose what you want based on what you need. Because my computer specs are good enough, I want high quality video. I don't need high performance. High performance means you're going to starve your video output, your video quality, to boost your game quality. Because my computer specs are good enough, I can have both. So I go for high quality in both. But, I mean, you may want to play around with it and figure out what you need. Honestly, I'm not sure what the difference is between high quality and Blu-ray. Blu-ray might be better, I don't know. I need to look that up. Profile, I left it main, and level, I left auto. Use 2-pass encoding is checked. GPU is at 0 and B frames at 2. Got it?
Okay. That's how it came.
If you go up and click recording, excuse me, it's basically the same thing. CBR 3500, 0, high quality, main, auto, 2-pass checked, GPU 0, B frame 2. Is that completely identical to everything I have under streaming? Main difference will be at the top part where you have like the individual settings. So like type at the very top under recording, so standard. Drop down box, you can choose different options in that.
I have standard and custom output.
Okay, you can play around with that. I just left it standard. Recording path, you will set that up yourself depending on where you want the videos to output when you record. Generate file name without space means that if you give it a title, it's just going to generate it without any spaces between the words, I think. I haven't actually used that before. Recording format, I left it MP4. Audio track 1. Encoder, I selected invent.
That starts at FLV. Okay, so let me move that to MP4.
Yeah, FLV, if you don't have FLV playing capability, you won't be able to read your file. So I changed mine, you're right. It does start in FLV by default. I had to change it to MP4 so I could run it on my computer because I don't have an FLV player. Encoder is invent again. And this time I did not choose to rescale output. I left mine at 920 1080, which is my native resolution. I rescaled for streaming to make it easier to stream, but I left it unscaled and recording because since I don't have to stream and I don't have to upload and all that stuff, my computer can record it more effectively than if I was uploading it. Does that make sense? So I can get away with having a little bit nicer quality.
Okay.
Under audio, I didn't touch anything under audio. It should all say audio bitrate 160. Should be like 4 simple
I got simple rate, channels, desktop audio device. All of it either says default or disabled, except for the same thing on top says sample rate, which is 44.1 kilohertz.
Oh, did you click on the audio tab on the left side?
Oh, was that no? Oh, okay.
Go back to
All right.
output.
All right.
There's an audio
Whoops.
tab under output.
You said just leave all this alone, right?
Yeah, I just left it all 160. Now we'll go to the audio on the left sidebar.
Okay.
My sample rate is 44.1. Channels are stereo. Desktop is default. Excuse me. Desktop audio device is default. Desktop audio device 2 is disabled. This will all change depending on what your plugins are. Since I only have one audio device and I only have one microphone auxiliary audio device, both of those are default. And desktop audio 2, mic auxiliary 2, and mic auxiliary 3, all three of those are disabled because I don't have any additional plugins. Make sense? So for the mic, you have enable push to talk mute. You push it and you mute it. You also can check it to have a push to talk. You can enable the push to talk. I didn't set up anything here. It's all blank. It's all 0 on mine. Okay. Let's see. Because I'm using TeamSpeak for my push to talk and all that, I set all that up in TeamSpeak. I didn't touch it in OBS. So now we'll go to video.
Somehow I don't think it'll let me use my joystick for that anyway.
Okay. All right. So now we'll go to video. Video, it'll say your base canvas resolution. That's what your native resolution is. And mine's 920 by 1080. Your output scaled resolution is whatever you choose to make it. Now I left mine native. That way I can record it native, and then for the stream portion, I just downscale it in the streaming. Make sense?
Okay.
So under downscale, I left it bilinear, which is the fastest, but it says blurry if scaling. You can change it to different things. I'm probably going to alter it. I think there's one that gives you better quality, although it's a little slower. I need to play around with that some more myself to experiment.
Lanskos, it looks like.
What?
Lanzos.
Yeah, I think that one's the
Whatever the hell that
quality.
means.
And basically, you can play around with them and see which one works better. I'm using bilinear right now, and it works pretty well. I put my FPS at 60. That means it's going to try to target 60 FPS. It won't go over that, but it might struggle to reach that depending on your computer. So you might want to set yours to 30. You might want to set yours to 60. I mean, you're going to have to play around, find out which FPS. Whoops, wrong button. Find out which FPS gives you the best performance in game game while also providing you with the best video quality.
I think I average between 40 and 50 in games, so I'll choose 48.
Well, if you're averaging between 40 and 50 in game, you probably want to run 30 for your stream.
Okay.
Remember, it's trying to capture, as you're doing stuff in game, it's trying to capture everything you're doing in game and immediately upload it to Twitch. So it's a big resource hog. So if you're trying to run at the same FPS in OBS that you are in game, the two are going to fight for supremacy in terms of which one gets the more resources from your computer. Roger that, Studio.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'll be doing too much streaming until I rebuild a new computer. This is just for recording purposes, really.
Okay. So all that's set. Now we'll go to hotkeys. And this is, I haven't really touched this. You can do whatever you want with it. But
Wow, so many.
yeah, the only thing I did was I set up my start and stop hotkey as the multiplication sign on the number pad. That's all I've done. And last but not least, we have advanced. What I did is I put process priority normal. The reason for that is I want MechWarrior to pull the most processing power. It's already rated above normal, high priority for the computer, so I don't want it to compete with MechWarrior for processing power any more than necessary. So it's normal. Video, it says Direct 3D 11 under renderer. I have no adapter. Color format is NV12. YUV color space is 601, and YUV color range is partial. I didn't change any of those, I don't think.
Okay.
Under file name formatting, you can change how you want it to show. I've got it left, I think it's the default. It's got percent signs, and it says CCYYMMDD. Okay, so you got the same thing.
Yeah.
Stream delay, I enabled it. I made it a 20-second delay, which Twitch has a built-in delay, so it makes it like roughly a minute 20, something like that. So you can change that however you want it. I preserve the cutoff point. So if you get broke off and you reconnect, it'll have an extra delay when it comes back in, it says, if I'm reading that correctly. I also set it to automatically connect. So if I lose the connection to Twitch, it'll keep trying to reconnect to Twitch. It'll wait 10 seconds, try connect. It'll wait 10 seconds, try connect, and it'll do it for a total of 15 attempts before it just times out and says I'm done.
Okay.
And bind to IP is default.
Okay.
So that's it for settings.
So apply, and then okay. Alrighty.
Okay, so now your settings are set up. You'll have to play with them to fine tune them, but you've got them, mostly set up. You've got your scene, you've got your source. At this point, you could record if you wanted to. Okay?
Okay.
Now, do you want to know how to do the extra stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So to do the extra stuff, you're going to right-click on sources again. Click Add.
Okay.
Shoot, what were these? Okay. I have to go back and look at my other sources real quick to remember which ones are which. Alright, so you're going to click Add. You're going to click Image. Okay.
Image. Okay.
Create new, or you can import from existing.
Okay.
I'm going to import so I don't have to go through all the stuff again.
So add existing.
You won't have an existing image because you're setting it up for the first time, so you're going to want to just create one. I'm adding existing so that I don't have to go through all the settings. I can just tell you what I've got set up.
Right. Okay.
So right click on it, and now once you right click, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can add additional stuff.
Wait. We've already clicked OK on the create select source.
Yeah, you should have like image or something now, right?
I put it image number 1. Okay.
So right click on image number 1. You have all these options.
Is our properties box automatically popped up?
Yeah, so you right click on it, you get this pop up, and properties is at the bottom, but above properties, these are all options you can do to tweak it, change the order that it shows, different things like that. For now, just click properties. And it's going to ask you for an image file. Now you can browse on your computer hard drive, select a file, and put it in. Now keep in mind, whatever the file resolution is, that's what size it's going to be in Open Broadcaster. So if you have a file that is like a 500 by 500 pixel file, it's going to show up as 500 by 500. Make sense?
Okay. And is this is something I've already recorded?
This is just an image you have. Any picture.
Oh, a picture.
A picture, yeah, any picture.
You want us to go find a picture then?
You can, but Yeah, you can go ahead and grab a picture.
Uh,
Grab something small if you've got it. Whatever you got this quick, for the sake of
hold on.
Don't do that. No, don't do it.
Okay, I'm just gonna grab a random flag image that I got off of DeviantArt.
Flags are good.
Okay.
Okay, now you should see the image in your properties box. Do you see it?
Uh huh.
Okay. At that point, you're done. You just go down and you hit OK.
Okay.
Alright, now right click on the blank white spot and enable preview so you can see your screen.
Okay, so I've got the picture over top of MechWarrior now.
Okay, excellent. Now, you know how I've got those images on my MechWarrior screen sometimes, along with scrolling words and all that?
Uh huh.
You just added an image on top of your MechWarrior. Congratulations.
Okay.
So, you're going to want to rescale that image. It should be in red now. So you can go up, you can click the edges, and you can drag it to make it bigger or smaller, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have it set up to the right size, you can click the middle of it and drag it around the screen. Ooh, that's trippy.
Okay.
Whee! Anyway, sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, I know, man. All these cursors, it's like an infinity of cursors. It's messing me up.
Yeah. So anyway, so you're going to want to set it up where you want. Now keep in mind it'll snap to the edge of the screen to help you get it on the corner if that's where you want it. All right,
Not done that, but I'll take your word for it.
Okay, so if you want to set up multiple images, you'll just right click under source and you'll add an image for each image you want to display. You can only display one image with a single image source. Does that make sense?
What? Say that again?
You can only display one image with a single image source.
Okay.
So
I would need multiple image sources in the sources area.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this question while I'm thinking of it. Can I do the same thing with other video? Like, can I put a box of other video, like you see on the YouTube, where the YouTube channels are like, blah, 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 blah. Here's a video of what I'm talking about in the corner over here, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
can you do that?
I'm pretty sure you can. If you look under there, it's got media source, VLC video source. I'm pretty sure one of those will let you do it. Although, to be honest, I haven't played around with that yet, so I can't really advise you on that.
Okay, I'll mess with that later. Maybe it's window capture.
Yeah, actually, while we're talking, I'm getting curious about that. I'll probably play it. Oop, I forgot to push the time. I was going to say, while we're talking, I'm getting curious about it, actually, and I'm probably going to play around with that myself later. But, so you know how I have two images. I've got the Brethren logo, and I've got my little Molon Labe logo. So I have a second image, and I click the second image, and I just add existing, my name, and there I've got my second one. And that's how I do two images on my stream, is I have two different image boxes. Make sense?
Okay. And there's no limit to that. I could just do as many as I want, right?
Yeah, but keep in mind, the more you've got, the more it's got to process, and it's probably going to impact your resources as well. So you don't want to go too crazy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, for example.
Yeah, for example. All right, so let's see. Renaming something so I remember what it was. All right, so
well, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
So I put these up here and then start recording, and it'll record with these images in place already, or?
Yes, you don't. What we're doing right now is initial setup. Once you've set it up, it'll be like that every time you open it.
Okay.
All right. So on the left, so under sources, if you look beside each one, there's like a little eyeball-looking thing. All right. So do you see your image that's up there on your preview?
Yeah.
Click the eyeball next to your image under sources and watch what it does. You see how
pop-up menu. What now? Oh, left click.
Yeah, left click on it, and you should be appearing and disappearing on your
Oh, okay. On and off. I gotcha.
So let's say you want to disable it. Just click the eyeball, and it goes away. Make sense? You're toggling it on or off.
Right.
Excuse me. Okay, so I've shown you how to do images now. For text, if you go back, you right-click and hit Add under Sources. Toward the bottom, it says Text GDI Plus. You're going to click that.
Text GD. Okay.
Once again, you want to create new. I'm going to import, though, because I already have some. And it's easier to go through what I've got than to create one from scratch.
Okay, so I got that set up. Giant pop-up of properties appears.
Okay, yep. So you're
Fonts
going
and
to.
stuff.
So I imported one called Song Scroll, which you can see in the video, and we're going to right-click on it. And again, you've got all your options there for what you want to do. But we're going to click Properties.
Yeah, it already popped up. The properties box it comes up automatically on mine.
Oh, I got to right-click on mine. Hit Properties. Interesting. All right. So under this, now you should see a gray background with lettering across the middle. Now you can choose your font. There's a lot of fonts to select from. I'm using Kristen ITC because it's got kind of the
Well, I think you got the lettering because you already set one up. I just got a gray box.
Yeah, you'll have to select font and pick one you like. I'm saying I'm using Kristen ITC. I like the rounded letters and the kind of bouncy look to the letters.
What's it called?
Kristen ITC. It's like a handwriting version.
Uh,
I'm setting up one a little.
HIJK. I don't have that one. I don't have any case.
Okay.
Well,
you can pick whichever one you want though. Is what I'm trying to say.
Right. I'll go with Comic Sans. Ah. Oh wait. Oh no. It's got a thing here. I can see it. Okay. Oh well. I'll play with that later. All right. So I've got it selected.
Okay. So once you've got it set up, underneath that you'll see there's a read from file box you can check. There's a text box and there's a vertical box. So if you want to just type a message, you're gonna skip the read from file. Don't touch it at all. You're gonna go to text and you're gonna type in that box. Okay. So you go ahead and just type a message, whatever you want.
Is it supposed to be gigantic on here, or do I gotta change the size?
You can change the size by clicking select font. You can select a font, select the style, select the font size.
I mean, but for this purpose, is it supposed to look super big, or is that, I don't...
You can play around to set it up however you want. For the purpose of this, I mean, I've got mine set at font size 36.
Okay, hold on. Oh, okay.
It's going to be big in the properties box, so they're showing you an example of what it's going to look like. On the screen, it's going to look small. Of course, the bigger the font,
cool, I can select the color. Orange. Sorry, I was skipping ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, you can play around with font, set it up however you want. Underneath text, there's a white box, and you're going to type your message in there, okay?
Got it.
All right, once you type your message, go a little further down to select color.
Mm-hmm.
And you select whatever color you want. I'm using red because it shows up while I'm MechWarrior.
Orange for me.
Opacity, that's basically how see-through it is. I've got mine set at 100. If you put it all the way to 0, it...
Oh, there's more stuff to scroll. Okay.
If you turn it all the way to 0, then what you'll see is whatever the colors are behind it. If you leave it at 100, it shows up red, or in your case, orange. You can also do gradient, where it's the color changes color through the letter. You know, it has a gradient from one color to another. But that's kind of hard to see, and it blends in with the MechWarrior. So I
can see that.
Background opacity is at a 0. If you move it all the way to 100, you're going to wind up with a bar. I think black is default, but it'll be like a black bar across your screen, so I leave it at 100.
It doesn't let me scroll. Oh, there we go.
Are you with me?
Yeah, I was just playing with the...
Okay, yeah, so background color, I left it default, which is black, and I left the opacity at 0. If you make it 100, it forms a bar across your screen. I don't like that. Alignment, I put it at center, so it should show in the center.
I suppose that would come in handy if you were putting in your own closed captioning, though.
It would. Alignment is center. You can change it to left or right, but I leave it at center. This is for your what's the word I'm trying to say? The alignment, how it shows on the screen, if I remember right. It's been a while since I played around with that. Also, vertical alignment, I put it at top because I want it to scroll across the top. Does that make sense?
Okay.
You can also choose center or bottom to show where it scrolls. I put an outline on mine. I checked the box for that, and then I put an outline size of 2. That way, it helps define the letters a little better on the screen. You can play around. This is all personal preference type stuff, by the way. There's no right or wrong to this. Outline color, I just left it default, which is black.
Oh yeah, orange and black.
Outline opacity, I left it 100. Again, if you make it 0, the outline will be see-through. And then chat log mode and use custom text extends, I left blank. I did not check either box. Okay?
Okay.
And with that, you can set up your own scroll across the stream with your own message or whatever you want to put. All right. Now, do you want to know how I do the music?
Are we going to foobar now?
Yes.
Alright, hold on. Let me open foobar. Which means I gotta...
This is
Oh, crap. Okay. Luckily, I got the little... pick stuff off my desktop without having to get to my desktop option enabled.
nice.
Alright, foobar is up.
Okay. So under foobar, have you added any songs to it yet?
Okay, if I've done that, it will show when I open foobar. Alright, so I guess I think I put all of my music on here at some point.
Okay.
Because I have millions of them, so. And they all seem to be here.
Well, for the sake of this, let's go to the top, right click, and hit add new playlist.
Top of where?
At the top of foobar, where it says file, edit, underneath it you should have tabs that say your different playlists. Mine says game music,
I've got default MWO playlist 1, library viewer selection, which is blank.
Okay, so if you have one called MDBO, that works. We'll just use it.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if you had one that has like a few songs, or if you just had like a playlist with like a million songs in it. I was gonna say just.
Well, I've got the
default,
songs, which I think is what it just made on its own when I imported all my music, which is, I think, like 5,000 tracks or something like that. But we'll go over to MW playlist, which is me fighting music.
All right, so you're gonna have all your music there. Oh, I'm trying to remember how I do this now. Give me just a sec. I'm trying to recall how I set all this up.
Are you showing me how it says what the song is too?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how I did that. There's a text extension you have to do. Okay, here we go. So if you go to, what is it, library? I think it's library. Yes, alright, so if you go to library at the top.
Library tab?
Yeah, on the tab, and go down to configure. Alright, if you look, you should see components, display, media library, playback, all this stuff there. Go down to tools.
I'm in tools.
Do you see one that says now playing simple?
Well, let's see. I click on the little arrow, and I open up. It says tagging, and then I got feed tagger.
Okay, now playing simple. That might have been something I had to download then. Yeah, now playing simple was a plugin I had to download.
Now playing simple. Let me write that down. I guess I'll have to go grab that.
Hang on a sec. I'm opening it now. I hope the URL's still good. Okay, this isn't good. It's still just spinning. Yeah, alright, the website's dead. Rats. Basically, you just have to look for a plugin, unfortunately. Crud.
This Freed but Tagger didn't do it?
No, that's not what I used. I'm not actually even sure what that does, to be honest. I've never used it.
Okay, so trying to figure out how to word this Google search.
I'm trying to find it for you real quick. Okay, good, I found it. Yay! Alright, I'm posting in TeamSpeak under Rim Territories. There it goes. Use that link. That'll give you instructions on how to set it up. But you're gonna have to download. The plugin, and then just follow the directions on how to set it up. And what I did is I just copied their formatting string that they have on in that picture. I copied it straight over, and use the same formatting scheme.
Now, where do I put it though? Oh, it says in the directions, right? Okay.
Yeah. If you
This is a shit ton of directions, so I'll look at that later.
yeah. So once you download it all,
There's
there's actually
so
a pretty
much
good guide.
crap on it right now.
Do you
Huh?
want it?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna put it into Twitch as well, so it's captured with the video. There's the link. Okay, but this is a pretty good guide, and this is what I use to set up my foobar to OBS setup. So you just follow this guide, and it'll actually set you all up. So we're gonna skip over foobar for now, because that guide will take care of you. We're gonna go straight back to. Oh crud! I just did something I didn't mean to do. All right, we'll close that. We'll go straight back to OBS. All right, so we're on OBS, and we're gonna go to sources, add, and you're gonna add another text GDI plus. Okay.
Okay.
Once you've done that, go to properties again. And what we're going to do here differently from last time is where it says read from file, you're going to check that box.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so properties automatically comes up. Should I get rid of that, or?
No, you want properties up.
Okay. And what are we doing here?
Alright, so under properties where it says read from file, underneath font,
Okay.
check the box.
Okay.
You should now have a line that says text file UTF-8. Do you see that? To the right of it, there's a browse button.
Okay.
Once you've set up your not your OBS, once you've set up your foobar according to that walkthrough, you're going to have a little text document, okay? And that text document is just going to be just a plain text document, no frills, it's not Microsoft Word or any of that, just a plain file type text document, okay? And foobar will write all the information that you tell it to write to that text document, okay? OBS, what you're going to do is you're going to open that text document to OBS. You can see all this in the video, I'm doing it right now. You're going to choose that text document. And OBS will read what's in the text document. Now, if foobar is not running, it'll just say nothing, like it's saying right now on my screen. If you start foobar, it starts reading. I just started it, and the wording changed. It's now, foobar is now writing to the document, and OBS is now reading from the document. Make sense?
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to rename this thing for foobar then.
Yep, and once again, everything is going to be open to preference, alright? And that's pretty much it. I've got 2 images and 2 scrolls. And what I've shown you how to do is set up 2 images and 2 scrolls. Sound good?
Okay.
Okay, now to set it
Now
foobar,
this,
just follow
whatever
the-
I type in the first one, even though it's not foobar, it'll still scroll, right?
Yeah, it'll still scroll.
It's automatic? Okay.
Yeah, you can play around with settings, sizes, colors, all that stuff to get it how you want. You don't have to name it foobar, you can name it whatever you want. I name mine recruiting because I have the little recruitment thing that says the Brethren Pirate Peripheral Confederation is recruiting. I should probably put our URL in there. And I also have one called Song Scroll, which basically is just the foobar readout. And then I've got Nightmare 1 for image, which is my little Molan Labe logo, and I've got TBRN logo for our TBRN logo.
Okay.
And I have those when you click on order, like if you right click on song scroll, for example, on my screen, you go to order, that basically tells you where it's laying in the pile. So like if I were to put all of these on top of each other, which one's on top? Does that make sense? You want the game capture to be on the back, on the bottom.
Okay. So it already is.
Oh, I just messed up.
You still there?
Yeah, I just messed up. My song scroll went to the back for some reason. It was supposed to stay on top. Anyways, but you want the game capture to be on the back, because if it's on top, it'll hide. All your scrolls and your images will be there, but it'll be behind the game capture, and you won't see it. Does that make sense?
Okay, back. By back, do you mean bottom?
On the bottom, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any questions?
So I can put, this is like layers, like Photoshop layers, right? Or something like that?
honest, I've never used Photoshop, so not sure.
Too bad Jason Zero isn't here. Well, with like in Photoshop, if you make an image, you have like different layers for different stuff. Like if you're making a landscape, you might have a layer for the sky, a layer for the ground, a layer for buildings,
Oh yeah,
a layer for people.
that sounds similar.
Okay. So it doesn't actually like where this isn't like where it appears on the screen. This is just like what its priority is, as far as
Exactly. If you brought like right now, I'm going to demonstrate it. Whoops. So I'm dragging two logos together, and one logo is on top of the other. I'm going to bring the order of one of them forward, and it now is covering the other one. And that's in the video too now.
Okay, so I can put different alignment. Sorry, so if I put top and center of the top and bottom, or top and bottom of the actual top and bottom of the strings, and then if I put center, it's going to go right through the middle, obnoxiously, right?
Say that one more time.
Well, okay, so we have alignment, and then we have vertical alignment for like the text thingy. All right, what is the difference between those? Because my regular alignment is center, and my vertical alignment is top at the moment. So what would that do? No, I'm trying to figure out why there's two different alignments, like what they do.
Let me look at it real quick.
Because right now I got that image you said, but I'm not. Oh, it's up here. Okay.
Alright, so on my song scroll, I've got alignment on the right, vertical alignment on the bottom. Vertical alignment just tells you where it's at on the screen. It's like a quick snap to it, like top, bottom, or middle. The alignment tells you where it's at in the box, I think. Or with relation to where on the screen. So like if it's top, middle, bottom from, vertically from the top down versus left to right from horizontally, I think is how that works, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so let me ask you this here.
Both my scrolls go all the way across the screen, so you can't see any difference in the alignments.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I got the little red box around my test wordings, and all I wrote was test message, so maybe that's what my problem is here. But, like, I'm trying to stretch it out without making it super huge, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that, but it's like all of it, like all the dimensions go when I try to make the box bigger, and I'm trying to figure out how to just make it go all the way across the bottom.
Gotcha, yeah. So if you have the red box, you can click and drag the edges of it to size the box differently, as well as to move the box around the screen.
Yeah, I got that, but here's the thing, right? Like, you see how it's got like the ones in like the circles in the middle, which you would think would only make it go in one direction.
Okay.
Like if the top one, you would think it would just make it super tall and skinny, or the bottom one, you would think it would stretch it out. But no, anytime I click on it, like the whole thing goes in both vertical and horizontal, increasing in size.
Yeah, it does that. You're gonna want to use the corners, not the sides or the top.
I am using the corners.
Oh, that's weird.
And then, like any part I click on it just does the. And I'm wondering, is that just because I got too few of words on here?
No, there's a trick to it. I gotta try to remember the trick, to be honest.
Yeah, let me, is that properties? Let me just put in some more stuff here.
I remember I really had to fight it when I set it up the first time. Although I just did it on the video, and I showed how to do it on the video. You just gotta very carefully, like, play with it to get it the right size.
And, like, in my preview box is also non-scrolling.
Oh yeah, I think there's a button you gotta push for that.
And properties? Or...
I'm looking real quick.
Use custom text elements, extents.
Let's say font. I gotta try to remember where the scrolling feature is, because you can set the scroll speed and all that too. Oh wait a minute. What is the button? Oh, here we go. Right click on it. I had to think about it for a minute to remember what it was. So right click on your source. This time do not click properties. Instead click filters just above it. Okay?
Alrighty.
Your filters, you should have an effect filter, okay? It should be blank.
Uh-huh.
Right click, select add, and it's going to ask you for a bunch of stuff. Choose scroll. It's about halfway down.
And I got a name of it, okay.
Yep, once you choose scroll, you'll get a little eye next to it. And again, same thing as with sources. You click the eye and it goes away, alright? So you're going to have scroll on there now. And it's going to show it scrolling across the gray background on your screen. If you hide scroll, it'll just show it there sitting static. Make sense?
Okay, hold on. I think I missed something. Let me get back up in here. Filters. Scroll. Okay, I think I missed a step here. Alright, so I made scroll.
Go to sources, right click on your word.
Mm-hmm.
Click filter.
Yeah, I'm in effect filters. And I made scroll. I got the little eyeball and stuff.
Alright, and you named it, right?
Well, I just left it called scroll.
Okay, that's what I did. Alright, so it should be scrolling across the screen on the right side. There's a little gray box next to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what I was saying with the eye is if you click the eye, it stops scrolling. Whereas if you have the eye enabled, it is scrolling. Make sense?
So if the eye is not struck through, it's supposed to scroll, right?
Yeah, I forgot. I've got one that's already functioning. My bad. Alright, here we go. So yeah, so it should start out all zeros, so it shouldn't be scrolling at all. So do you see where it says horizontal speed?
Okay, yeah.
Grab that slider and move it. Notice how, depending on which direction you move it, it'll scroll in that direction, and depending on the magnitude, it scrolls slower or faster, right? I'm using about a 40 scroll for my game. Yeah, 40.
40.00?
Yep. 500 is the fastest you can go in either direction.
Okay, alright.
You also have a vertical scroll, which if you grab that, it'll scroll up and down within the box. It won't go across the whole screen unless you extend the box to cover the whole screen. Make sense? You can also limit the width. You can limit the height, which I haven't done. Actually, let me tell you what I did. I limited my width to 1300. That actually helped me get it across the screen properly.
This is hilarious, man. I just put in a bunch of Z's at random to make it longer so it looked like it would scroll. And no, it's like
Alright, so that'll set up your scroll, and when you're done, you just hit close, and now it should be scrolling across your screen. And that should be the last thing.
wow, orange goes really good with MechWarrior because it matches the new colors
Cool.
with when they redid the interface.
Excellent. Alright, any questions, Noob?
And so when I do this dilly for the food bar sometime later in life, I want to enable the scroll dilly, like you said, or is it going to do it itself?
It's all automatic. The only time you have to enable it is if you disabled it previously.
Yeah, but when I do the foo bar, right?
Yeah, when you do
Instructions.
foo bar, you just follow the instructions on that guide I sent you. You'll set it up, and then you'll go and you'll create your text like you already did, and you'll add you'll just add that file to it. Is all you have to do.
Okay, and so because then that instructions will include scrolling, like you have, or do I have to go do the enable the scrolling daily?
No, you'll have
like you
to.
just taught
You
me?
have to go to filters. You have to add the scroll filter, and you have to do all that for it.
Okay, so I have to do that on the food bar later. Okay.
Yep, and if you need to, you can just review this video. I'm going to port it over to YouTube when we're done.
How long does it take you to download these videos?
Download, you mean like to stream?
Upload, I meant.
Oh, if I record and upload?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the length of the video, as well as the quality of it. If I have a single MechWarrior match, like a 10-minute match, it could take 30 minutes. If more than that, it could take closer to an hour. An hour-long match will take, like a 30-minute match on Faction Warfare will probably take an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, it takes a while to upload it, and it really depends on your upload speed.
Okay, so like big things would be like set it up and then go to bed.
Yeah, I set it up to upload, and then I walk away. Come back later in the day.
Can you do more stuff while you're uploading?
Yeah, you can do more stuff. Just keep in mind, uploading requires a lot of bandwidth from your upload speeds. So if you're trying to play online games, you're going to compete with that. Your game quality a little more poor than what you're.
Like, say if I just wanted to, like, watch YouTube while I'm doing it or something.
Yeah, you can download YouTube videos. They might be a little sluggish to download, but they'll download.
Okay, alrighty. And then, alright, so I think I've got the basics of setup, unless there's some other stuff we haven't got to. As far as recording and making the actual videos that you upload, like, is there like a, you could chop the scenes feature deal, cut it off, and just pick certain things?
You mean editing the video?
Yeah.
When you stream to Twitch, you can go to Twitch and you can. Let me drag it over here real quick. So it grabs Twitch real quick. Alright, doesn't look like it's showing Twitch. It's showing everything but Twitch.
Okay, so real quick while you're messing with that, so I'm going back to MechWarrior and I'm not seeing the stuff I set up in OBS, so that's not something I can see while I'm actually playing?
Come back again, I'm sorry.
Alright, so I went back to MechWarrior, right? And I still got that test image and the test text, that's in my previous screen, but I'm not seeing it here, so that's not something I can see live.
No, you won't see it in game. No, you won't see it in game. It shows up only on your OBS preview or on the video once you're done. It will not show in game.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. I was thinking that music scrolling thing was something that you could look at while you were gaming.
No, you'd have to interface with the game program and some other. That doesn't work. It would be cool though.
Yeah, I was thinking that's what you were doing the whole time.
Nope. All right, so I'm on Twitch right now. So if you stream to Twitch, let's say you have a video, and you want to, like you're saying, edit the video. You go to Videos, pulls up all your videos, and what you can do is click the filter, go to Past Broadcasts. It pulls up all your past broadcasts that you've done, and you just click one. I'm gonna grab Empire War here. Go to Empire War, and you're gonna click Highlight, just like we're showing in the video. And you get these little yellow sliders at the bottom, off the wazoo. And you're gonna choose the slider. So, like, let's say I want to grab this little space battle I've got one right here.
Yeah, but okay. But here's the thing, though. I don't really Twitch right now, so I was asking more like editing for upload from
for upload?
OBS.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were asking about streaming editing. My bad.
No, I'll catch you another time for that. No, I'm just talking about like I have video. I want to upload it to YouTube.
Yeah, for that I just use Windows Movie Maker. Do you have that?
I do not know. Let me find out. Windows. Would that be under accessories?
It would be a program on your computer.
Windows Media Player. No, that wouldn't be it. I don't think I have it. So, is that free?
Yeah, it's usually comes with Windows. You might have to download it online.
Unless, I don't know, it might be like a thing.
It's kind of like the low, no frills, free, cheapo program that a lot of us use for editing videos because it's, like I said, free and we don't have any talent. If you want something more effective, you can get other stuff. You might want to look at CNET. There's a lot of video editing software on CNET.
Because I don't see you have anything that says Windows Movie Maker. I go to accessories. I don't see it there.
I seem to remember I had to download it for Windows 10. That they stopped including it with Windows 10, and I had to pull it from CNET or something.
That's some old bullshit. I paid $110 for this.
I know, right? Anyways, but yeah, you just use Windows Movie Maker, and you can choose to highlight, edit, things like that. Like in the video I'm showing, I drag it to a certain point. You can come up here to edit. You can split the video and insert things in between. You can delete parts you don't want, change all kinds of stuff. It's pretty simplistic and straightforward, pretty easy to use as far as programs go, and works really well for preparing videos.
Alright, so say I've got, I start recording, and then, when I stop recording, it would hit, like
You're gonna set up your file path. Remember under recording, under settings. Whenever you stop recording, it dumps the video at the end of that file path. And then you can go choose the video when you open your editing software, and you can edit the video in your editing software and then save it as a new video, and then upload it. Alternatively, if you can't get your hands on a good editing software, you can upload the whole thing to YouTube and then edit it in YouTube. They have an editing lab built into YouTube that you can use. It's a little clunkier and a little more difficult to use, in my opinion, than Windows Movie Maker, so I prefer to do Movie Maker and then upload. Plus, you got to upload the whole video, which can take longer than uploading a snippet.
Right. So the studio mode doesn't really do a lot in OBS. That doesn't look like.
What do you mean?
Over here on the right corner, under the recording, above settings.
I've never actually clicked that button. Ew, interesting. Yeah, I've never used that before. I just do my own thing with it.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, but I'm going to have to call it there because I've got less than 30 minutes before the bash, and I need to prep for that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to... Man, half an hour, I don't know if that's enough time to get running screenshots loaded.
Yeah, you can do it.
Oh, yeah, I'll mess with that later. Okay.
Yep, 20 minutes, 26 minutes, but you can nail it if you're quick. Basically, all you really need is one run, and whatever you're running is just enter that. Because, like I said, we still have one slot. Since we have one free slot left, I'll accept any late submissions.
Open up my Paint program real quick.
Do I need to sign off?
Alright, Paint. Where'd you go? There you are. Let me get that ready to go. Let me figure out what I want to...
While you're doing that, I'm going to log off for a little bit, and I'll be back at 9.
Okay.
Alright, see you in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Alright, talk to you later.
Alright, thanks, man.
No problem, anytime. See you later, studio.
Disconnected.
Alright, I'm going to call it there. I hope this tutorial has been helpful. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I'm not really the most knowledgeable about this program. I'm really just sharing what I've gleaned by watching other tutorials and reading guides. So there's a lot more information out there, a lot of people smarter than me, but I'll definitely help as best I can if anybody needs the help. For now, this is Nightmare 1 signing off. Have a good night.